to start in child's pose today. This can sometimes be hard on the knees, so be sure that you're listening to your body. But basically, you're going to have your toes touching, knees wide, and then really just stretching your forehead towards the mat. And if this is too much on your shoulders, you can also bring your arms by your sides. If not, it can feel good to stretch out your fingertips towards the top of your mat. And like we will come full circle at the end of class in Shavasana, this is just a real resting pose. So take a moment, a couple actually moments, to just really sink in and let your hips pull to the earth and just relax. And awareness mostly to breath and nothing else other than listening to your body's cues. Reach your fingertips long if that's comfortable for you, elbows off the mat, and bring them over to the right of your mat, beginning to get a little more of a stretch in the left shoulder and down the left side of your body. And fingertips back through center towards the left side of your mat, getting an opposite side stretch. And back to center. And let's press up into tabletop. And in tabletop, we're stacking shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. And just take a moment here and get into cat-cow from this position. So in our cow, we inhale, drop your belly, shoulders roll back, and your gaze is forward. And then exhale to cat, belly to spine, chin tucks, rounded. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. And then just rock your table out, coming to stillness. And from here, we're going to lift your right leg up, foot flexed. Actually, I think I will turn this way. You can stay the same way. But basically, your foot flexed behind you, and then we're gonna slowly bring your right foot to your side body, moving it around, and wherever is comfortable, placing your foot on the ground. And let's walk our hands up into gate pose, lifting your arms above your head and grasping your left wrist and bending to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands to the mat. Lift that right foot off the mat and bring your gate behind you, foot flexed, and knee down and back to your table. And we'll take gate pose on the other side, lifting your left leg behind you, foot flexed, and bringing it slowly to the side. And when you can't go any further, then you can just bring that foot to rest on the floor and walk your hands back. And we'll rise up, hands to the ceiling, and left hand grasps right wrist and bending to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands to the mat. Lift that foot off the ground and slowly circle behind you and bringing your left knee to the mat. Now let's just again walk our table out up. Curl your toes and we're gonna hover our table on an inhale. So inhale, hover your knees off the mat. Everything else stays the same. And we'll just stay in a hovered table and then push back to downward facing dog. And back to hovered table. And exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, hovered table. And belly button should be pulled in firmly to spine. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Pedal out your dog, taking any movement that feels good as we ground down through hands and feet. Just taking some breaths. Big inhale, open mouth, exhale. On an inhale, lift your right leg high. And exhale, open the knee to the side. We're just gonna hang out here in our scorpion dog for one more breath. And inhale back to three-legged dog. Exhale your right foot to the mat. Big inhale, open mouth, exhale. Lift your left leg high. And exhale, scorpion dog. So opening that left hip and hanging out here for a moment. Inhale back to three-legged dog where the left leg goes long. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Big inhale, open mouth, exhale. Look to the top of your mat and slowly walk your feet forward, coming behind your hands, keeping a slight bend in your knee. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. And if this is okay with all parts of your body, you can release the mat and cross your elbows for ragdoll. And in this pose, again, we just let the weight of our torso hang heavy, letting go of your neck, letting that relax too. And you can have a little sway in your ragdoll. You should have a micro bend in your knees, just keeps your joints safer. Release your fingertips to the mat and toe heel your feet back together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale your right foot back. And we're going to come into a runner's lunge from this angle. So we're in a low lunge. You're up on the your right toes. And take a couple inhales, exhales here. And walk bring your hand inside of your foot and walk your left foot towards the edge of your left mat, of the mat. And really taking a wide runner's lunge. You can bring your right knee to the mat if that is more comfortable for you. And even just kind of pulling that left knee towards the left and getting a big stretch. And then walk the left foot back where you bring your hands back on the outside. So both, we're kind of framing your left foot with your hands. And on an inhale, we'll come up to a high runner's lunge. And inhale, And crescent lunge, exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more inhale and open up into warrior two. Gazing out over front fingertips, left knee tracks to left toes. Really feeling our large leg muscles being activated here. And inhale, straighten that left leg. Turn your left toes to be parallel with the right. And we'll be in star pose. Inhale and exhale. Inhale your hands to hips. On an inhale, slight back bend, and exhale, forward fold. Pulling belly button to spine. As you bend over to wherever is comfortable for you, you can release your fingertips to the mat. And once you're settled in your wide-legged forward fold, bring your right hand kind of right below your face, the palm, and we'll open the left hand to the ceiling to get a twist. And feeling that, I know I feel it in my right inner thigh, amongst other places. Inhale. And exhale, left hand replaces right hand on the mat. And inhale, your right hand to the ceiling, twisting the other direction. And exhale, both hands to the mat. And we'll just take a gentle side lunge, Skandasana. As you're lunging, you can lift the toes up and just be on your heel. And come back to wide-legged forward fold. Inhale your hands back to hips, rolling up, pulling that belly button tight to spine, coming to stand, reaching to the sky, star pose. And exhale back to warrior two with the left knee lunging, looking out over left fingers. And inhale, reverse triangle, left leg straightens, left arm reaches high. And exhale, bring your hands to the mat on both sides of that left foot. And we'll go back into our low lunge. And we're going to walk that left foot out to the side of your mat again, getting a stretch. Left foot walks back to center. And we'll lift the left foot back up into three-legged dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. From here, come forward to plank pose. Shoulders over wrists, ankles over toes. And it's up to you. We're going to do a high to low push-up here, a vinyasa. So you can bring your knees to the ground. Either way, you're going to want your elbows tight to your wrists as you and I'm definitely going to take it with my knees down. So we're just going to lower down for a low push-up. Inhale into cobra, where you lift your chest up, or if you want to lift your knees off the mat, into upward facing dog. And then press back to downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale, open mouth, exhale. Look to the top of your mat and walk slowly forward, feet behind hands. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold for another ragdoll here. Grab opposite elbows. This time, grab the opposite hand goes on the top. So if you always do your hand crossing one way, you want to mix it up and do it the other way. That is good for brain health. Just like practicing brushing your teeth with the opposite hand. So hang here in ragdoll, letting go with your neck. Release your fingers to the mat, toe heel your feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale your left leg back. So we're in a low lunge with our right foot forward. And from here, we're gonna walk our right foot out to the very edge of the mat. Again, coming down on your left knee, that feels better. And even rolling up onto the razor's edge, the outside of your right foot, if that is accessible. And just having patience in these stretches, letting our body do its work. And then coming back to the sole of your foot and walking that foot back so it's framed between your hands. Inhale and exhale. We're going to lift up into a higher runner's lunge. So long line from crown to left foot. Inhale and exhale up into crescent lunge. Big inhale, open mouth, exhale. One more inhale and exhale into warrior two. Getting comfortable deep in this lunge. On this side, we want our knee tracking towards the right pinky toe, gazing out over the front fingertips. And inhale, star pose on this side. And what we'll do now is bring our hands behind our back to clasp them behind your back. And this will be just a shoulder opener. If this is too much, you could just repeat your hands to your hips. Having your hands clasped and pulled away from your back, and inhaling and exhale, forward fold. When you're at the bottom of your forward fold, you can release fingertips to the floor. Now we'll take the same twist. So right hand right below your face, your palm flat, and we'll lift left hand to the ceiling for a twist. And release. Left hand takes the place of right. And on an inhale, inhaling right hand to the ceiling. And release your hand to the mat. And from here, you can return your hands behind your back, clasp, or hands to hips, whatever works. If you're doing clasp your hands in the opposite way you did coming down. So as you go up, we're inhaling, pulling belly button to spine. And hands go to the sky. And exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, reverse triangle, right leg straightens, right arm reaches up and over. And exhale, hands windmill to the mat. and exhale back to downward facing dog. We'll take another vinyasa on this side, so come to plank pose. We'll hold in plank for one more inhale. And on your exhale, knees go down or a push-up down and slowly lower to the mat. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, push back to downward facing dog. Big inhale, open mouth, exhale. Walk your feet up to behind your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Toe heel your feet to touch. Big toes touching. There can be a sliver of space between your heels. And then rolling up one vertebra at a time. Coming to stand, shoulders up, over and back and down. And here we are in mountain pose. Inhale, your hands high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, right hand to left wrist. And exhale, crescent lunge to the right. Crescent moon to the right, I should say. Pushing hips to the left, staying two-dimensional, keeping hips in line. Inhale back to center. Take the opposite grip, right hand to left. Inhaling tall and exhaling. Hips go right, hands go left. We're staying, again, flat as if we're between two panes of glass. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll go into tree pose. And the key in tree is just rooting down through your left foot, standing leg, and really just deciding where you want to, if you want a more relaxed tree today, you can keep your right toes on the mat, or you can assist your foot up higher on the thigh, kind of avoiding the knee area, and pressing foot into thigh. And really just, this seems like such a straightforward pose, but some days our balance is just better than others. So wherever you are today is just perfectly wonderful. And if you fall out, you can come back in. We're going to stay here for just a little bit longer as you let your hands take a different, and arms take a different expression. Really working the small twitch muscles of that left ankle. Hands back to heart center, and with grace, lowering that right foot to the mat. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll take the opposite tree, so grounding down through the right side. And we're definitely not symmetrical, so you may find your experience of balance on this side is different. And coming into your pose, really rooting down through that right foot. Gaze is so important in all the balancing poses. So really finding a spot in your horizon and focusing on that. Inhaling and exhaling. Take whatever arm variation you want as you express your tree. It could be cactus arms, runner's lunge, or airplane arms, I should say. And with grace, lowering the left foot to the mat. Shaking out those feet. Inhale your hands high. Exhale, heart center. Inhale your hands high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose, curling, pulling belly button to spine, and then press back to three-legged dog. Inhale, knee to nose, and then continuing on, bring that foot forward between your hands. And we'll rise up on our inhale into crescent lunge. Exhale to warrior two. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, horse pose, which is a wide-legged squat. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, hands to the mat and back to downward facing dog. Inhale forward to plank pose. And we'll take another vinyasa on this side. Knees down, elbows hugging in tight as we lower to the mat. Taking cobra or knees up for upward facing dog. And press back into downward facing dog. Big inhale through nose. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale the left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose and hold it. And from there, stepping further, and sometimes you have to just bring that foot along into low lunge. Inhale, and on your exhale, we'll stand up into crescent lunge. Inhale, exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, horse pose, wide-legged squat. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse triangle. And exhale, windmill your hands and step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. And we'll do another vinyasa, knees to the mat, elbows pulling in by your sides as you lower. Upward facing dog or cobra. And pressing back into downward facing dog. Big inhale, open mouth, exhale. Walk your feet up behind your hands. We'll hang in ragdoll one more time. Releasing hands to elbows, releasing neck. Just taking a little sway here. Release your fingertips to the mat. Toe heel your feet together to touch. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And we'll inhale up into chair pose. I think you all know chair, but I'll just turn sideways We're really sitting back into our chair, weight in your heels. You should be able to lift your toes off the mat. And this is a challenging pose. It's a little bit easier if you do airplane arms. So whichever, or you can also do arms straight out. This is when breath is so important when we have a challenge. And inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more inhale. And we'll do a prayer twist to the right. Option to bring your hand across your knees and right hand to your sacrum. Inhaling your head, you're lengthening long, and then exhaling, twist. Otherwise, you bring your left elbow outside your right knee. Inhale back to center. Let's just take a moment to stand out of our chair. And exhale back to chair. And now we'll take our prayer twist to the left. So again, your option, hand can come across the knees, left hand to sacrum, inhaling your head long as you twist. Or right elbow outside left knee. Inhale back to center. And inhale, stand up, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. And we're going to go into pigeon pose. We usually do this on our back. You bring your left foot towards your your right foot towards your left hand. If this is too much on your knee, you can lay on your back. I do like to throw pigeon in every now and again because it is such a good hip opener. So inhaling and exhaling to kind of sink as deep as you can into your pigeon. Ideally, your calf is perpendicular across your mat, but it's hard to have my body go like that, but that's sort of that's the direction that you're moving in. So ideally you want your foot as close as possible to the left hand. And we tend to hold this pose longer than most because there is so much tension in the hips. And if it's comfortable, you can come into sleeping pigeon, bringing your forearms to the mat and even resting your forehead on your hands. Rise, pigeons awake, sleeping pigeons. And from here, we're gonna get back on your left toes so you can lift back up into three-legged dog. Release your right foot. We're back in downward facing dog. Big inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Lift your right foot high. And exhale, pigeon on the left side. That left foot coming towards the right hand. It takes a little bit of adjustment to get into a comfortable pigeon. And really breathing into it. If you would like to take sleeping pigeon, coming down onto your forearms. And hands firmly on the ground as we press back into three-legged dog. So coming up on those right toes so you can lift your left leg high, three-legged dog, and release back into downward facing dog. From here, come down onto your forearms for dolphin pose. And after a heavier stretch in the hips, this can be a little more intense on the shoulders, but very strengthening in the shoulders. If this is too much, you're welcome just to stay in regular downward dog. And then just walk your feet back and we'll come into a forearm plank. And just tapping our hips right and left with our plank. Getting a little bit into our obliques. Pulling belly button to spine. Really protecting our back, but yet strengthening it. And come back to rest in forearm plank. Press back to dolphin, and then lifting up into downward facing dog. And let's just bring our knees to the mat and press back into child's pose. So knees wide, sinking towards the ground, fingertips long. And back to tabletop. And from here, let's cross our ankles and sit back to come to Sukhasana, easy seat. And from here, we're gonna take our left leg long, right foot into the inner thigh. And we'll just do, it's called Jani Shirshasana. Forward, one-sided forward fold. So flexing both feet, we'll turn our torso towards the left leg and just with a flat back, going down as far as you're able before getting too much bend in your back. And just keeping that left foot in particular, important to be flexed. Inhale, back up, and switch sides. So right foot flexed and long, and left foot in towards the inner thigh. And turning torso towards that right foot. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Jani Shirshasana. Inhale to rise, and bring the soles of your feet together for cobbler's pose. And with this, you can use your elbows to press down on your knees. The closer you bring your heels in, I guess, more intense the stretch is. So finding a comfortable spot for you, and also kind of opening your feet up with your hands. Expands the stretch into your feet. And close the cobbler's pose up, and just scooching. My mat has gotten a little off center here, so now just kind of giving yourself a little hug from this position, and if you're comfortable, just rolling down onto your back, and you can just take a few rolls here, and then in a little ball, kind of circling your lower back onto the mat. Right circles and left circles.
Bring the soles of your feet to the mat and knees go right and head and gaze go left for a supine twist. Inhale back to center and knees left, gaze to the right. Back to center. Hug your knees in tight one more time. Before, one at a time, extending your legs long, arms come out to a slight diagonal away from your body, and just really finding a comfortable final resting position for Shavasana. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is to take this time for yourself. These few minutes of Shavasana is the epitome of self-care. So I hope you can rest, recharge, relax. Begin to bring movement back into your fingers and toes, rolling your wrists and your ankles, coming back to life from your corpse pose, and making your way to a comfortable seat. You can go to the side first if that's more comfortable, and then coming up to a seat. Just keeping your eyes shut, bringing hands to heart center, and really just acknowledging how important it is to take care of ourselves. All the people that depend on us need us to be strong and nurtured, and that comes from taking time on our mat and doing many other things to be caring for ourselves. So thank you for taking the 45 minutes on your mat. I really, really enjoyed practicing with you today. Namaste.